In this video, I'm going to show you what GEO really is, how to stay here, and how these AI ranking hacks are actually the single most expensive distraction in marketing right now. And right now in SEO, you have two ways to play. You either go this route or you go this route. And so that you choose the right one for your business, let me tell you, this lives here. Okay, it's primarily short-lived and you have a low degree of control of the output. Now, they feel amazing because they're hot, you're pursuing a novelty, you think you'll capture the untapped alpha, and it fixes your FOMO. When you do this, there's no FOMO. Great. Path two, this route lives here. It's boring, it's slow, it's predictable, and that's exactly why it works and creates long-term wealth, because it compounds. So this looks like this, whereas this looks like this. You're here, oh my God, the hack worked, oh my God, the hack didn't work, and now you're worse. So why do we pursue this? Because our brains and our feeds are wired to overvalue novelty and excitement and undervalue things like long-term vision and control. And this is why every week there's 50 new videos and posts about the latest AI SEO hack. Oh my God, I just put a press release there and now I'm #1 for this super long tail keyword that nobody looks for. And there's way fewer videos about like, if you do this thing every single day for the next 2 years, you will quadruple your business. So now I'm gonna show you how GEO, ChatGPT rankings, AI overview rankings differ from traditional SEO rankings, in which ways they're the same, and what principles apply to get results, because as a business owner, you want to live here and not here. The first principle we're gonna use is TISL. Theory, intelligence, strategy, execution, learning. This is what effective execution is made of. And by effective, we mean it produces the desired result consistently and predictably. So execution is already within the framework. The effectiveness relies on this. Every serious execution, whether we like it or not, follows this exact chain. First, you have a theory about how the world works. Then you gather as much data as possible on yourself, the competitors, the terrain, doesn't matter. Then you turn it into a strategy on how can you best execute so that you actually get the end desired result. This is what you meet reality, and it typically punches you in the face. Mike Tyson said everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. And then you learn from that. Sometimes you learn that it worked great, and sometimes you learn that it didn't work. And so the flow that happens is like this, and then like this, because from the learnings, you craft new theories, you polish your wrong theories, you might also polish your intelligence gathering process, you might also polish your thinking process on the strategy, which ultimately results in you changing how you execute it the next time. So now let's see what are your two options. If you follow the hype path, what would this look like? If you follow the principle path, how would this look like? So here's how the hype game is played out right now. People start with very questionable theories, primarily extracted from LinkedIn posts. Then most of the intelligence that is being gathered right now relies on Vibes. Vibe coded tool, Vibe understanding of those data. All those AI visibility trackers are all mostly spitting out incredibly incomplete data or just flat out wrong. If you just pull in from the API, what the API says and what the users see are completely different things. So you start with two very bad foundations, and because hype demands fast action, strategy gets skipped. And we go directly into the execution, which is let's throw money into ChatGPT. We're gonna rank right now, important. And sadly, because the metrics change every minute, the tactics that work change every minute. The moment that a model flips, now it collects data and shows data in a different way. The learning is limited and ultimately broken. This is how you burn money. In contrast, principle, you start with a sober theory about how GEO works, and you're gonna anchor this into real data. So on the real data, there's very little reading of actual large-scale studies. And I have one video going in full depth over one such study with almost 1,000 websites in the sample pool, $20 billion of transaction data, and 1 year of analysis. So you also see the trend on how ChatGPT changes in a video that I'll put in the description box below, as well as here. Go watch it. So knowing well how it works and having some real data, now you can start really thinking on a calm, focused manner how are you actually going to influence AI results, which you can do. And then you execute on the 3 things that actually matter, which will come right after this. And now you have some growth, and you can say, well, this worked, right? And this worked. Let's do more of this and more of that. So if we want to stay principle here, we have to see what these guys are. So the second principle, and this is how you will actually get to rank in ChatGPT as well as AI overviews, is that visibility always has rules. Doesn't matter whether it's on Google, on Bing, ChatGPT, regardless of what it is, there's always a certain set of rules to follow if you want to be the recommended one and therefore be visible. If you've seen my previous videos, you already know this, but this is how I encapsulate all of SEO. You have the technical foundation, you put some content on top, then you build links to that content, then you get some early traffic, then you get user experience signals, and last, you start building some degree of brand reputation. Because the order is ascending, you can use the acronym TCLAB, right? Which is basically what SEO is. Now, in order to be seen in Google, to be ranked, you need all 5 of them. If any of these layers is weak, you have an incomplete entity which won't do as good as a complete entity. And if both are complete, the stronger these ones are, because this one taps out very soon, the stronger these ones are, the better results you're gonna get. So if your technical foundation is good, your content's good, your links are good and abundant, your user experience is good, and your brand is strong, you will be fit to rank on Google. For GEO, you have 3 core units that are what measures a brand's fitness in order to become the brand that gets mentioned when a user makes a query. Google uses all of these, AIs use these. They're same but different. So folks in the GEO space right now, they're throwing tons of buzzwords around there to say a lot of things that were already known in SEO, and a few ones that look new, but that ultimately can be condensed in these 3 camps. Things like occurrence and entity saturation, signal velocity, citation velocity, media graphs, source bias, all of that stuff can really be aggregated here. The 3 fundamental things that you have to do to get your brand featured in any AI is performance, reputation, retrieval. And the way that they order themselves is, again, from the bottom. First off, can the system understand you and your brand and your website, which is most of the information of your brand's home? If you're not fit for the system, it cannot retrieve your data, therefore it doesn't know who you are, it doesn't care. Same as here, you put a robots no index tag on your website and it doesn't matter how good all of this is, you won't rank. If AIs cannot read your site and don't know about you, or they cannot read the site where you get mentioned, you won't get mentioned. Next is, are people happy about you? Is there a fit for you? So this is reputation. This is why everyone is talking about like Reddit marketing and reviews and. But last, of course, is, are you fit to solve the problem? Okay, does your brand actually solve the problem of these people, provided that, the AIs know about your brand? Now, I told you before, same but different, right? Now, how do you measure performance in SEO? Well, performance is mostly how well is the content solving the problem, and once the people go to the website, does the user experience say that they did indeed find a solution to the problem? The reputation of your brand primarily comes from the backlinks and the amount of actual brand signals that Google uses to say whether you fit for people or not. That's your reputation, your fame. And last, the retrieval is the retrieval of said content through proper technical configuration. So yes, GEO and SEO are different. GEO is more unbounded, it's more reputation driven, and it has a lot less to do with keyword ranking. But it's not a completely separate, independent, brand new universe with new rules, new everything. It's the same layers, but this gets expressed as fitness for a network, while this was fitness for a list. So there's 3 things you need to rank in GEO. You have to be fit for the system, fit for the people, and fit for the problem. Now, I told you that this is the most important one, yes? The 3rd principle that will actually get you to rank on AI SEO is the Pareto principle. Classic, applies to absolutely everything, and it's basically that 80% of the results or the outcome of something depends on 20% of the original input. How does this principle apply to our case? So this is how it goes. 80% of your SEO results is actually going to come from 20% of your effort, and the other 20% will come from here. Now, the big fat 80% of the effort that is required to do, right, goes here, but the 20% that actually gets all of the results come from links and brand. Why? This is a finite game. There's only so much that you can make your technical SEO good. There's only so much content that you can publish before you dilute your topical authority and you get wrecked like HubSpot. And there's only so good that you can make your user experience within your site. They are marginal 1% improvements once you've hit the cap. This is an infinite game. You can always get more links. You can always get links from stronger websites. You can always increase the amount of people that Google your brand every single month. You can always increase the amount of sites in which you occur, in which your brand is mentioned. You can always get better online reputation, more Google reviews, higher score until 5 stars. You can always put more pressure on this once you've done the part that is a bit of a conditio sine qua non. This needs to be good. If this is trash, this won't get anything, okay? But once you cover this, be done and apply all the pressure here, because this is how you grow the results over time. This will only get you so far. So in GEO, again, we said this little 20% there is going to be driving 80% of your results, where all the other stuff here, unfortunately, is only going to get you 20% there. Yes, your site has to be understandable to AI. It has to read it. It has to know who you are. All these other things. Your content can't be crap. But none of this stuff will actually get you all of these results. All right, so this concept is at large the single most important in this entire GEO thing. Okay, reputation, fun enough, you enter the reputation definition in Google. What the AI overview will tell you is that it's the beliefs or opinions generally held about something, right? Obviously by others. Merriam-Webster says the overall quality judged by people in general. That is where the money is. How does an LLM then figure reputation out? For a large language model, for a mathematically designed network to figure out reputation, it has to solve a series of questions. I'm going to give you the most important ones, right? First one, it has to ask, what is generally being said about you? Then who is saying those? Obviously, reviews in your own website and reviews in a Google business profile and opinions in a user-generated forum cannot really carry the same weight, because there is different levels of trust. But also a public endorsement from top-level, most reputable place out there also will matter differently than what the forums are saying. Then, of course, just how often am I seeing this being said? Is this constantly, yep, they're amazing at X, yep, they're amazing, I use them, they're amazing. New media story says, yep, they're amazing. Another place comes and says, yeah, they serve this area and they're amazing, right? Just how often is that you are amazing being said? Again, by whom? Not all carry the same weight. Then next, how consistent is what's being said about you? Are 50% of people saying that you're amazing, but the other 50% saying that you're not? What's going on there, right? That is immediately going to put the next question. Just how coherent is what I am seeing in these places? Reddit, Quora, press releases, Trustpilot, Google Business Profile. Just how coherent is that general sentiment and those opinions with what I'm also seeing when I read the website and when I look at where that brand is placed in the general landscape? And this will take us to some straight gold. But the last thing that's being said is just how do I score that mathematically? Why? Because LLMs are written in math. They think in math. All of these things that they're doing it in highly complex, highly evolved, non-linear math, okay? But it's ultimately going to give you a reputation score of some sort, and it's going to use that alongside with 50 trillion other metrics to figure out just who to say, use this business when you ask ChatGPT or Google in the AI mode, hey, I need this service, who should I use? Which take us to how do we influence this? The coherency and the who is saying what summarized. So reputation and coherence, which you need coherence of reputation, but coherence is by itself another thing, which we're going to get there. And your helpfulness is the real 80-20. You know what this is all made of? How do you help both the LLM and users? When the user makes a question and the LLM doesn't know, the LLM does this, called query fan out. I'm going to show you exactly how AIs actually find answers for queries like this, okay? Best of a business in a location for a specific need. Let's go. searching for pool landscaping businesses. And now we have an answer, right? Okay, awesome. Let's find out exactly what did it search for to give us this answer. You're gonna come here, you're gonna hit right click inspect, and then copy this bit here after the C and come to network, and on the filter, dump that code and then refresh the page. Amazing. And you're gonna click here on this orange bracket that has the exact code that we pasted. Make sure that you are within the response, then do Command F, Control F, queries. And let's just see exactly what it looked for. This is exactly what it looked for. And you will see that it made multiple searches, okay? It looked exactly for the same query that we asked it for, right? A few variations, okay, outdoor living, right? Mediterranean courtyard pavers. It looked for residential pool design firm, right? But not only that, then as it fetched some answers for those, it went deeper. Because when it did the original search, it found some brands that were actually appearing for those, either on the map pack or on the organic. And then it looked for reviews of those guys to make sure that it was safe to recommend those brands, because AI wants to agree with the consensus of the internet. And there you go. That's exactly how Query Fan Out works. And based on who is there on the top results of search engines, it's going to retrieve all this data and it's going to give an answer. And the last coherence is what people say, what you say, and what other robots says. We already saw people, right? Reviews, UGC, etc. Other websites. What you say, your website, content, and technical. And what other robot says, biggest brand classifier robot known to mankind. And if this looks a lot like just doing really good SEO, is because it is. So I want to leave you with this so you can stay grounded and be effective with your marketing. The shared principles across SEO and GEO greatly outdo the tiny little bit of things that you can do that influence GEO results that are mostly hack-based, or sometimes they're all SEO tricks that have been resurrected. Some people are saying now you can put, prompts in white text on a white background that are only available for LLMs that will influence them. That sounds like SEO in 2004. And then last, there might be the tiniest little bit of fraction of things that are actually fully, completely unique to GEO that aren't a hack that's gonna fall off in 3 months or an old SEO trick. Pursuing these, we've already said, is where you're gonna go crazy and lose your money. Pursuing these is where you will get consistent results. So now this is your game plan. First, get your site fit, both for Google and for AI crawlers. Once you've done that, next is get accurate intelligence, aka data, on 2 things. What is your backlink gap and what is your brand gap? AKA, in which ways are your top 3 competitors stronger than you at the 80-20 that drives all the SEO results, which is what drives the majority of the AI results. And last, bridge that gap. And if you want to get intelligence on this thing here, then go to the description box in this video and get yourself a copy of the link report. Will tell you exactly why your competitors are winning when it comes to link building. This is it. This was Alex Meyerhans. I hope you enjoyed this video. You learned something new. You got some nice grounded stance now on the subject, so you can stop being bamboozled by GEO hype men on LinkedIn. And I will see you on the next video.